Like you said, Nidalee banned the wait from Lian, very common. Expect that Ari are going to ban Rumble here. If they're not waiting until the third ban, which would be kind of weird, because if you leave it till third, then you might end up with your hands tied. Okay, let's see where they go then with LeBlanc remove the wait. OMG, Nico, up and available. Kai'Sa, up and available. What things are they willing to ban away or trade out? As R8 have gone for two very targeted bans towards specifically Cream. Of course, Abel a little bit with Tristana. OMG, I feel quite confident. And of course, there's then the Vi, which is, for me, one of Arki's strongest champions. So I feel like R8, and just in general, this draft, we could end up with a very overloaded draft with a lot of those S tier champions up and available.
Yeah, Vi will be banned in the end. Let's see. Oh, I mean, Kai'Sa's made it through, so that'll be a first pick. Yeah. Easy lock in there. Do you go Renekton for Xiaoshu once again?
Renekton Sejuani wouldn't be too bad if they want to. Go for a full top side. Zyra Khan up and available. Rel up and available. But of course, with Alistar up, maybe you don't want to show that Rel super early on, but the Nico is almost a foregone conclusion. That one should go through. Then I wonder if it is just a Renekton, Cassante even for Xiaoshu, Eva, or I think there's loads of strong options available. It just depends on what they're really feeling like. There's the Xayah, so that could give Baolan a pretty confirmed and locked in Rakan on 3. It just depends on what OMG actually look for in this next rotation, and if they show their full bot lane matchup themselves. Again, loads of strong dive pairings available with the Kai'Sa. Nautilus as well, we spoke about the Rel, Alistar, plenty of things, very, very blindable. It just depends on how they're really feeling. Top side of the map as well, plenty of picks. Again, it's a bit of a soft overloaded draft here, as the Rel will go through, and then if Cream wants a mid lane pick here into Strive, he can just match it. They can hold on to it. But the Rumble, we forgot, has of course been left up. Wasn't first picked because of the Kai'Sa, but certainly could get locked in here. And hey, I mean, the thing about the Rumble, you know how earlier on I mentioned Ornn, very powerful champion. There's very few champs that can really just blow summoner spells from like a screen and a half, 2 screens away. Rumble is also inside of that list. Being able to drop the equalizer on an AD carry's head and, you know, either chunk them out or force them to use a summoner spell is huge. So we'll see how often those trades come out for Shanji, but also just the sheer lane prowess into Xiaoshu, because again, now with this Rakan likely coming through, oh no, they go towards the Renekton. They're not willing to sack. I was going to say, you know, for RA, it's a decision between support matchup and the top side matchup. If they sack the top side matchup, eating 2 top side bans would have been absolutely terrible for Xiaoshu inside the lane matchup. So feels really good that he's able to get his hands on the Renekton. And now OMG, I feel like, have 2 very, very easy bans here in phase 2. One is Sejuani, so you remove the Renekton Sejuani pairing. Wow, RA do it themselves. Very interesting. And then the other one is naturally just Rakan, as we'll see Nocturne also taken off the board because that has started to rise in priority as a very scary duo. Turn off the lights and then get Pop Blossom.
Yeah, definitely can be incredibly difficult to deal with. Not to mention as well, Lian loves to carry, doesn't he? He loves to be doing a bit of damage himself. Nidalee and that Nocturne both banned away from him. As it does seem like heavy jungle presence in the ban pool. 2 on either side. Sylas going to be taken away from Cream. I mean, it is a bit of a signature for Cream, but we've not exactly been seeing loads of it.
No, definitely haven't. That does kind of make me wonder whether RA are just looking at something like Maokai then in this next rotation with Sejuani gone. There's the Viego. There's not really too many junglers left up now at this point that are particularly prioritized. Could see a fallback from Arki onto the Wukong as well. I will mention that. RA, I feel like if you ban away Sylas, you're either looking at a big team fight ultimate from Lian, which again, I'm imagining Maokai is the first one that comes to mind, or something else entirely, but they're going to give jungle to R5 because they really want this Rakan. And of course, they can hide the jungle pick until 5. They already know the support matchup. OMG, what will it be? There's a lot of magic damage, so physical from Cream wouldn't be too bad. If they end up on Maokai, I expect that Yone will come alongside it. And then there'll be a lot of dive and a lot of strong CC tools, which if RA get clipped by any, you imagine they will just get bursted down almost immediately.
Yeah, certainly will. And Maokai should probably be the final lock-in. Makes sense with the rest of this composition. Gives Cream a way to get involved on these fights. And just think, the roots land, Rel charges in, equalize it down, and then Yone on top of all of that. Not to mention Abel flying to the backline to finish someone off. That sounds pretty terrifying to me from the side of OMG. I'm loving this composition. as RA. What do they want to go for Lian? It is going to be a carry in the jungle in the form of that Kha'Zix in the end. So a bit more of a like strong meta comp from RA versus like a strong like
comfort comp,
signature comp. Yeah, like you've got meta in jungle and in bot lane, but then top and mid, it's all about like comfort. It's all about signature picks here for Cream and Shanji.
Yeah, Cream and Shanji specifically, right? Made their names on these picks. So looking forward to OMG piloting these ones, especially in the laning phase. And Arky again to be that facilitator for his solo laners, as he so often is. Abel and PP God should be fine down there in that 2v2. It can be a very volatile one, so I wouldn't be surprised if Arky pays it a very early visit, just to ensure that it stays a stable lane instead. For RA though, a little more, yeah, like you said, meta, but I'm kind of concerned for Lian. I feel like if he doesn't get snowballing, that Kha'Zix into the champions that OMG are running could very quickly, you know, become useless, is what I'll say. So Lian really needs to get some gold inside of his back pocket real early. I feel like he's got lanes definitely to play around and do that, but it's going to be about finding those windows where OMG can't punish in kind.
Let's see if they can find it. I'm looking towards that top lane though. The rumbles come out for Shanji. It's his classic. He's got 47 games on it and 31 wins. He's won almost twice as many games as he's lost on the pick. If he wins this game, that fact will be true. It'll be 32-16. Phenomenal on the pick, and I can't wait to see how it's going to look today against this Renekton. But remember, Renekton got ahead to start game number 1. You know, things flipped around after that point, but the 2v2 went the way of RA to start us off last time around, as Aki will be recalling in the top brush to make sure no shenanigans can come out from RA.
Yeah. Lane rush being put down here, or lane ward rather, for Aki. Incredibly passionate Gyos.
I mean, it's a combination of things. Apparently, it's OMG Day today.
Yeah.
In the arena. And on top of that, it's Balan's birthday. So, strong reasons to support your squads in the arena today for both of our teams. Let's see how this one's going to pan out. Quiet start, obviously. Let's talk pacing, though. With a Rumble and a Yone in the game, like, what do you expect from OMG when it comes to the early game?
Well, for top side of the map, I feel like Shanji should have a relatively easy time shoving out if he really wants to, but he has to be careful of a very early visit from Lian. It looks like he's starting out on the Raptors. I'm not sure how much information, if at all, OMG have on that. So what we could see from Lian is actually, like, you try and catch Shanji out as he tries to crash either the second or the third wave. And with the setup that Xiaoshu has, being the Renekton, very plausible. And if you can hold that wave in a freeze as well, it would be big. So OMG, Shanji needs to be careful of that, right? His objective should be to shove out early on and have a very strong 1v1 against Xiaoshu. And then Cream, just survive, right? I think it's kind of difficult to pilot out melee champions against Nico, but Yone is one of the few champions I've kind of seen be a little bit of an exception to that rule with the passive shielding from the W and so forth. You can actually trade out all right, but definitely level 1 to 3, a little bit difficult to navigate, so that's where it's really about for OMG. Early lanes need to just be protected by Aki, I think, realistically.
All right, we'll look for Aki trying to hover these lanes. He started on the bottom side, Will. Path up towards that top lane now is just trading back and forth in the bottom lane, but fairly even so far between the two teams. And you can see Cream already getting chunked out in the lane as Lian going to move in towards the same quadrant that Aki is currently in. This could get a little bit dicey for our Maokai as Aki on his wolves, but that sapling is going to give the game away. Blasco keeps him safe as Lian, I think, will just have to back away from this one.
Yeah, so Lian actually has priority in the top side. It seems like Shanji has yielded that one. Obviously, Prio here in the mid lane from Strive, kind of an expected outcome. Cream taking a bit of a beating, but staying within touching distance in terms of CS.
Oh,
maybe Aki. Oh, Aki's found the window because Lian's not actually looking at this.
They know that he's going to be trying to invade instead, so Strive forced to flash into the blue side jungle here. Xiaoshu in the meantime, forced to flash up top as well as Shanji almost gets a solo kill. And all that priority that Lian had a minute ago is pretty much gone.
Yeah, exactly. So, feels quite bad for Lian because he spent a lot of time up here, basically accomplishing nothing, right? So, we'll get the scuttle, yes. Won't lose the smite to Aki. But at the end of the day, like you mentioned, so much tempo lost for him. Top side Xiaoshu as well, losing out. I think he probably tried to trade on Shanji, and Shanji goes into overheat and just kind of one-taps him. Aki again, doing a great job, just covering, making sure Lian can't attack this. Because he knows that Shanji wants to reset relatively soon. And the teleport's even coming out from Cream defensively just in case. Happens.
I don't think that was a defensive TP. That was to try and force a play based on Aki flashing forwards. They're baiting this one. They don't know that Cream is here for the time being. Shanji flashes out. Xiaoshu so low on HP. Here's Cream, here's Shanji, but they can't quite reach them. The flash under the tower from Lian. They all get away with their lives.
I'm not sure Shanji needed to flash out. I'm going to be honest. I think he was fine, but still very worried about the amount of burst that could have come his way. Didn't want to get stunned up either by Xiaoshu, but he was in overheat. If he's getting auto attacks off, that could have been huge. Picture in picture. Is it just the awkward trade moment here? Yeah, it is. Unfortunate moment for Xiaoshu. Just steps forward, gets hit by the harpoon, and then Shanji's also in overheat. So DPS shoots through the roof. He's able to get auto attacks off.
Great big damage.
Oh my God,
Abel has a lot of damage at this point in the game. Has that flash available. If you get the isolated Q, it just annihilates people. Balan in a bit of trouble. Assume still healthy though with both summoners, so difficult to try and commit onto the Rakan because you might just get shredded by the Xayah.
Yep, definitely. Very, very difficult always. You never want to get caught up by the Feather Caller. Aki may be forced to give up this little Rift Scala, but at the end of the day, it's not really a big deal. Lian is still level 3, 15 minutes in. That Skull's going to push him to 4, but he's still a little bit behind the curve, to say the least, on where you want to be on a Kha'Zix. Typically, in competitive play, you very rarely see Kha'Zix look for really early action. It's just about trying to hit that level 6, get the first evolution. For many patches, it was always like the W evolve to be as oppressive as possible in terms of finding those slows, but now we're back to the claws, and that does really amp your ability to clear out early camps. Speaking of clearing very early on, Kha'Zix, especially when he hits 6, very strong Dragon Taker, but right now, Lian just thinks he's got the window because he anticipates Aki will be on the top side. And will likely just find it as, there you go, Shanji drops the R on the wave just to make sure he gets through the reset.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult to push it to the tower. Look at the CS advantage. It's like 20 CS up for Shanji in the top side, just dropping his ult onto the wave to make sure, like you say, he can get that reset off. And Xiaoshu will even the CS up somewhat, but won't have chance to get a wave underneath the tower here. Zaki now looking for an invade, but Xiaoshu has some free time because of the fact that Shanji went for a reset. Go for the honey fruit. Doesn't know that Aki's currently invading, so won't be able to stop anything happening. And these chickens are forfeit.
Yeah, Aki will take those away. Ari weren't really too bothered about covering the cross map counter jungle, and at the end of the day, it's just one camp. Lian eating the dragon, getting the additional camp as well. Now caught back up, it feels like, into the game at level 5. And more likely still hit level 6 on a decent timer. And that dragon, really losing one jungle camp at this stage in the game, not the end of the world. So RA find themselves an early objective, which definitely feels good for how this composition wants to work. And now it's really about that first Herald spawn up, right? In a little bit under a minute's time, there's a Rumble on the top side of the map. There's a Renekton. So you know that it's going to be bloody.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You're seeing the value of Ninja Tabbies in that trade there. We just witnessed Xiaohu dive in, get his full combo off onto Shanji, and Shanji took barely any damage. And the thing is, like, obviously with specifically Renekton, because the W is like auto attack based, the Ninja Tabbies gets extra value there, but even still, the damage reduction is just mind blowing.
Yeah, there was also, yeah, just the dash out. There was also that change. I think it was actually more of a bug fix where there was a lot of like auto attack empowering abilities which weren't actually being blocked by the passive of Ninja Tabbies for a long time. So I actually think Ninja Tabbies just has even more value into Renekton in that regard, if that's an interaction that was fixed as Abel dodged out on the jump. And we'll just trade back in kind.
Yeah, based on the damage that Xiaoshu did, I'm pretty sure it was fixed. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way that's unfixed, because that would be insane. Now, Cream has his full kit available, should have a bit of an easier time during the rest of this laning phases. Aki just going to start the Herald off. You know, Cream online with the ultimate available at this point. Shanji is very much in charge of that top lane. So Lien looks towards the bottom side of the map instead to try and get stuff done. Doesn't actually have any lethality on the board just yet, only those 2 longswords. So not at the strongest point, but he is on that level 6. So perhaps the threat of a dive here from the bottom side with Abel and PP God here, but it does feel quite difficult to pull off.
Yeah, it certainly is. I just feel like just because PP God and Abel have all summoner spells plus their ultimates, like diving that and getting out of your life is a really big ask. It won't be taken up by R8. Like you said, Arky got the Herald. And again, to be fair, OMG didn't really lose anything, so gold generation available relatively soon. Shanji, this is going to be a real nice trade.
This might be an all-in, honestly. Still has his Ignite available. That's Dominus burn.
Yeah.
Just from waiting in the brush. And Shanji really bullying this matchup at this point. Xiaoshu going to use the rest of his Dominus to push this wave. So at least he'll have that. That's going to be the first wave of the game where he's actually had the push.
Yeah. Outside of the first couple of waves, and even then Shanji yielded that. More than Xiaoshu really taking it. Will find himself that window if he wanted to reset. Not going to do it this time out. But again, I think really the power of the champion is not seen yet. It's going to be this next dragon, I think. Shanji's going to need to find a window to roam down. You have to remember he's running the Ignite, not the teleport. So all about the lane prowess and the pressure you can put down in the 1v1. We'll have to find that opportunity to get down here and actually contribute for OMG.
I've got to say, this has been a really boring game, Shimada. We're 10 minutes in and nothing has happened.
10 minutes, no deaths, barely anyone has even used summoner spells, right? We saw like a flash out of Shanji in the 2v2 earlier on. That was like kind of it.
That was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
There was a lot of flashes there, but no follow-up to it. Stack Shiv online now, though, and bit of damage onto Stripe. To be fair, for OMG, like, you know, playoffs is on the line here. You, of course, are going to take this series seriously, and I'm not suggesting that I think teams should just run at each other. All I'm saying is I like it when teams do just run at each other. You know, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the second game of the second series today, where it was just, people running at each other, and it was great. I loved every second of it.
Do agree.
But Drake up in just over 10 seconds. Perhaps an opportunity to run at each other.
I've got it, Joe. Let's just press the button where the teams run at each other. Right? Remember, as casters, we have control of the game. We actually dictate what happens. So here's how it's going to go down. RA are going to start to dragon up, as you can already see. PP got an Arky's going to press his Arky from downtown. Right now, yeah.
There it is.
Then Cream's going to find like a 3-man ult.
Oh, he's just going to hit one time. Xiaoshu TP'd in.
Yeah.
So OMG just sack this and let Shanji farm up. He's going to get so much solo time on that tower. Traded for second Drake for RA. So that's a lot of waves being sacrificed here by Xiaoshu. 3 plates for Shanji. He's getting really snowballed. And on top of this, Abel gets a Herald on the bottom side as well. This is brutal. Now Baolan's caught in the jungle. Actually gets punted over the wall by Aki.
Okay.
Oh, my days.
All right, not bad.
Wow.
I mean, this... Oh, wow.
Featherstone going to be used. Hang on. Cream's in trouble, though. Needs to use that Fate Seal to try and get himself out. He's still alive, but now quickness from Baolan to finish the kill. First blood finally comes on through. Azaki with a 3-man Bramble Smash. OMG get out with their lives, but 4 plates taken in the bottom side.
4 plays taken in the bottom side. I think 3 taken in that 1 play from Shanji. So even though they pulled that first blood through, so much gold just went into Abel and into Shanji, the 2 members that you probably want having the gold the most. Yone can sometimes operate without it. So that feels pretty damn good for OMG. And it should push them into a position where that next Herald in 2 minutes will be a good opportunity for them to fight, but I guess an opportunity to fight right now.
Assume forced to flash, forced to cleanse, dived on by Abel. The health bar's low, but the feather pullback is good. Abel, Blast Cone is out of range, and he goes down. RA turn it on its head. Great pullback by Assume, and a phenomenal 2v2.
Yeah, I mean, turnaround is good. I think the idea here from OMG is because Assume is without ultimate that they can probably win the 2v2, especially Baolan as well, not having ultimate. So that was 2 ultimates not available to RA, and they still won. out. So huge win for RA. OMG just fall short on the execution. I think not really able to get on top of one target like they would have liked to in the case of Abel. As now
Oh my
Xiaoshu.
days.
Oh.
That damage is disgusting. He has Ignite available as well, and he uses it. The roots are not quite going to find Xiaoshu. Pixels away as Lian tries to move in. I don't think that's a fight you can take. No isolation damage available. Shanji will be able to just shove another wave in here. Lian's moving over, as is Strive. Shanji, you got to get out of there, buddy. As is Flash available. Will he get a chance to use it? They don't even throw abilities.
Nope.
He's fine.
Don't want to. Let's look at this replay. Let's see why this goes wrong for OMG and what RA actually do. W even gets interrupted. Good flashing. Cleanse maybe a bit early, I guess, from Assume. Didn't even take off the Ignite from what I can see on the particles, but at the end of the day, Abel just isn't really capable of putting in the DPS into Assume like you probably would have preferred to have here. As we come out of the replay, I think this tower was taken during the replay, so more gold goes into Abel's back pocket. RA looking to just cross-map in kind. Shanji doesn't have the ultimate, so he can't clear the way from range, but RA are actually a little bit more interested in this Herald, so they'll take a step back from that tower. Cream use the Spirit snap back.
And now we get a big moment, right? Game number 1. OMG aced RA at the 15-minute Herald. We're at that point in the game. Once again, PP God Hex Flash into the play. This Herald started off by OMG. But RA want to fight for this one. Xiaoshu no TP. This is 4v5 if RA commit to this. And I think they've suddenly realized this is not actually a play that they can win. They look towards the mid lane instead.
I think with the teleport being up so soon, what they were kind of hoping for and gambling for, that OMG wouldn't start this Herald instantly. Unfortunately, for them they do. If they could have had him involved in the fight, it would have been definitely favorable. But now, Herald's going into the top lane, and what we might see Arky do, I was wondering if OMG would actually try and kind of corner off RA from making it to the top side. I think this Herald is still going to charge into the tier 2, potentially, so it should still yield out to be OMG favored, no matter what. OMG still find themselves on the good end.
Still feels like a wacky Herald though, doesn't it? Like, there's no way you're committing to trying to take the tier 2 immediately with the Herald. Like, you could always drop the tier 2, you could always drop the Herald up top later on if you want to try and commit to the tier 2, but I feel like maybe just slamming it for mid lane later to try and take the tier 1 could be more valuable.
Yeah, I think there are definitely loads of options. OMG just wanted to cross-map immediately because they got the Herald. They didn't want to lose the tower for it, I guess, so happier to trade out for the tower that they lose for a tower, plus obviously the Herald that they get using it. So, very strange, I do agree.
I think that's what I mean, though. They definitely would get the tier 1 anyway without the Herald, so I don't know. Either way, Drake started off here, RA. This would be Soul Point if they can get it, and an Infernal Soul, no less. But Cream is behind enemy lines here. Is Strive trying to spot the players out. Xiaoshu doesn't quite face check as the roots come on through, and here we go, Cream. Bit of damage there, equalizer across the team, but Strive! Pop Blossom is massive. Abel kicked out of the fight, but Strive goes down, and actually it's OMG winning out for the time being. Assume is alone and taken down. Nobody falls for OMG just yet. As Cream being attacked by Xiaoshu, but he's got reinforcements from the team. I don't know how OMG survived that, but they got the Drake as well.
I'll tell you how. It was OMG's re-engage, and Shanji was just in overheat, melting everyone inside of the gravity well. It was huge from the side of OMG support and top laner. RA's initial engage was honestly really solid, but again, the follow-up wasn't really that good because it was pretty much stonewalled entirely by PP God.
Absolutely insane stuff from OMG. Denying Soul Point here. And I was so focused on Cream, I wasn't ready for Strife. The Pop Blossom at the start is phenomenal.
Yeah, great angle, great flank, finds 3. Baolan, however, has a lot of his combo interrupted here by PP God, and Shanji's in overheat, melting 3 very squishy members. That's why it gets turned around on.
Yeah.
Really, really well played. Again, from PP God. Looking to secure a MVP. We said, and kind of gave him a shout out in game 1. It's Arky that won out this time. Maybe he finds it in game number 2 for another moment like that. And they secure the dragon.
So good.
Very so far so good, yeah.
I could believe it. I could definitely believe it if he can keep this Rel performance up. You've got Rakan versus tanky Rakan here on the Rift. We'll see who's going to win it out. PP God looking good so far. There's Cream and Xiaoshu. That was what, 1 HP?
Yeah.
Aki's walked across the ward, so Xiaoshu will know he's coming. Should be able to slice and dice his way out of dodge. But my goodness, I guess we've got to the point where Cream has come online, eh?
Yeah, Gale Force online. I think very common build at the moment is Gale Force into BT from a lot of Yones. Shield bow second sometimes if you need like the defensive stats of having that additional shield. So we'll see where Cream lands, but shield bow typically we've seen kind of just fall off as an AD item at the minute. Not super popular unless the game really demands it, but for Cream could definitely be a very solid option. But you can already see, as we have demonstrated to us, how strong he already is on a side lane, and if he can do that to Xiaoshu, imagine what you can do to basically anyone else on RA, right? Very, very scary point in the game. And speaking of scary points in the game, Abel just hit 2 items as well, and that's just 2.
Yeah.
Kind of just means if he's got, you know, a little bit of isolated time to use the killer instinct to find a Zoom or even strive to a point, he will very close to one-shot them.
Yeah, the speed at which he can finish a health bar is kind of disgusting. You got to land those W's first, and in fact, they're even going to give him that bonus blue buff. Don't need it on the mid laner because Cream doesn't have mana. So Abel, in case the CDR wasn't enough off of the resets, oh my days, it's already doing so much damage.
It's
now with blue buff, he could just mash these out.
The Observer knows as well, like he's hovering over it. Speaking of 1v1s, Cream's going to disengage. Doesn't want anything to do with Xiaoshu. Yeah, like Dominus and having to deal with 2 empowered abilities back to back is really scary. Probably wait for it to time out. Maybe just look to clear the wave or re-engage if he sees Xiaoshu overstep. But no Dominus now, no Fate Sealed either. Could just be a bit of a handshake of the waves for a little while now with that in mind.
Yeah, certainly could be. Drake coming up in a minute though, and I feel like that is what RA are looking towards, right? They've already got 2 from earlier on in the game. But OMG, getting an Infernal Drake as their first Drake, just think of the scenario where you've got an AP Kai'Sa that's already chunking like that, did a quarter of Assume's health there with a W. Ooh, imagine if they get an Infernal Soul. Hang on, Baolan, quickness to engage onto the enemy team here. Abel right into the Pop Blossom. The shield keeps him alive, but he will go down in the end. But at what cost? 2 kills for the Maokai as Assume feathers to keep his team alive. It's 2 for 1.
Yeah, I mean, great flank, great pinster from RA, but again, OMG are just able to answer out so well. The equalizer from Shanji was massive, and PP God back to back with these re-engages. Huge in stopping RA in their advance, and RA, despite the creativity of that engage, lose out on this tier 1 now, and the Dragon could also be forfeit as well, right? No teleport from Strive, there's teleport on Xiaoshu. Highlight the re-engage with Shanji and PP God. Great from Baolan as well to lock up Abel. Abel, the idea here, Killer Instinct, and then try and flash out of the Pop Blossom, but I think he's just chain CC'd 100 to 0. But PP God with this re-engage and that equalizer just melts through the health bars of RA again.
Yeah, so it turns out it's not just that Rumble's really strong, Rel Rumble is really strong. This is a combo I'm going to be looking out for over the next couple of months, because I feel like this is going to be something that everyone around the world is going to have to watch out. I mean, the damage is too much.
And don't forget, right, like Rumble Equalizer slows. I don't think the Rel, I'm not sure if the Rel armor actually necessarily lowers your health bar, but obviously it's like it pulls you back in, kind of akin to like Aatrox W, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of an annoyance. You really can't get out unless you flash. It feels like that Dragon should go down wholeheartedly to OMG. What can RA get done in kind, if anything? That tier 1, I suppose, will be the answer, but this OMG side getting more percentage stats in the damage department just feels like a very impressive Dragon out of any that OMG could have landed on. So RA now continue to have to just yield, it feels like, as the gold lead is starting to also kind of grow in OMG's favor as well.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Infernal Drakes, that's 10% attack damage and ability power, which, especially on a champion like Kai'Sa, you kind of get the double benefit, right? Because you build both. Yeah. You're still doing a lot of AD even on this day. What just happened with that Pop Blossom? It was vertical, and Abel goes down. Lien somehow walks away. No, burned by Shanji in the end, and now an equalizer across the team. 1-for-1, jungler for AD carry. Shanji wants a little bit more. Flashes to get the slow down. As in goes Cream, the Magnet Storm on top of everything. And they're just into the meat grinder, aren't they? This is the meat grinder composition, except it's also a barbecue and grill with the flame spitter in there. Xiaoshu does turn one around, but take it out in the end. My goodness, it's an all-in-one heated blender. The soup maker.
Was really disgusting on the back end. OMG were thinking about Baron here, but they'll just take the reset. And need I really say, PP got again with another, this time great engage. Abel, that's just really unlucky timing, isn't it? Abel just goes in. Wasn't paying attention to the minions, unfortunately. And like you said, Lian gets burned out. Two of the Monarch Embrace of Shanji. Equalizer then comes in, forces the ultimate of Assume. And you'd think at this point, that maybe OMG will consider turning around, right, with feathers on the floor, but they don't. They go forward. Cream finds two, and then this engage on top of it. Huge from PP God to lock in more kills. Xiaoshu with the healing, though, does actually manage to trade out for at least one kill here. But at the end of the day, it's still a slaughter where PP God more accurately really just gave his life to ensure that they could kill off Xiaoshu in the back end.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff. And we are getting to the point now where these fights feel very difficult for RA. And you can't just focus on Abel. Like we've seen, Abel has died at the start of basically every fight so far this game. But he is not the real threat. It's Shanji up in the top side who is melting people. And then Cream on a flank to turn the fight around alongside PP God. The CC chain is terrifying. And actually, they're going to wait a second. He's found Lian. Lian just get 1v1'd by Cream here. Oh, a bold equalizer. Doesn't quite find his mark. But Lian bullied away. That opens up Baron potentially. Assume gets caught by the W of Kai'So. Xiaoshu in the back, but he's totally alone on the play. Goredrinker keeps him alive, as does a stopwatch. But Baron is being focused down here by OMG. Objective taken. Strive with a three-man Pop Blossom. The rest of the team diving on in, but they don't have the damage in this Bowland to fall. Assume has to carry, and he knows it. Charging forwards onto Aki, but here comes Cream. The blades are true. PP God with a shield. How are they surviving this? He only gets one. There's Cream now in a 2v1 himself, but he's got lifesteal, and he dashes away. In goes Shanji once again. What is this fight? Aki finishes another one, and Lian, no flash and nothing left. The Sunfire Cape will finish it off.
What an insane team fight from both ends, really. RA really pushing the envelope, 4 versus 5 for so long with Lian forced out. But OMG with the numbers advantage, the re-engage, again, from PP God, massive. Xiaoshu did his best as well to buy space inside of the pit, but no one from RA could follow up for so long. He was basically just operating as a lone wolf. RA tried to force, again, this time out, actually onto Shanji alongside Assume, but Assume cannot safely get in range. Then Xiaoshu gets turned around on, but this healing, massive. Goredrinker, Q-empowered healing as well. Goes into the stopwatch, has to dash back. The Baron goes over to OMG, and then Strive finds a 3-man ultimate that just can't really find any damage follow-up, right? I think that's the big problem here, which then leads into Assume actually having a window to open up here onto all the members of OMG that end up in front of him, able to eventually cast the Featherstorm, but good window from Cream, then almost takes out Lian, flash away. I was almost expecting him to dash back it, to be honest with you, with that Q3. Doesn't quite do it this time out, and then Aki comes in and finishes off Strive, but man, what a team fight from both sides. RA, unfortunately, despite finding that big ultimate from Strive, not able to follow up on it, and that was really the determining factor in whether or not RA could have a successful fight. And with that, OMG with Baron in pocket will look to strip away all of the towers that they can and try and crack open the base with 60 seconds left.
60 seconds off the Baron, trying to pressure 2 lanes. Xiaoshu cutting off the minion wave. Dominus comes on through, but they're just going to engage onto Bowland instead. Rakan is useless if he's CC'd. The damage chain is there from Abel, but they can't quite finish off the bird. PP God looking for a dive. Xiaoshu has been split apart, and the 2 solo laners of OMG finish him off. While the rest of the team, hang on, Lian, that was a third of his health, and in goes Abel to finish the job as well. And well, I mean, what else can he do when Lian is getting absolutely rinsed by Abel like that? I feel like this might just be game minions underneath the bottom tower as well. as that'll be 2 inhibs taken, 28 minutes on the clock. And Able surviving a fight for once. And that should lead them to a victory. The W flies straight between the goalposts. But with the second inhib going down, it's a good knock up here. And they've dived a little deep, but Stripe goes down and Able easily finishes 2 more off. 18-7. And OMG, I mean, that Mojo fight at the Baron was gorgeous. And the last one, they make it look easy. Hands diff across the board here as RA are slaughtered. And OMG will guarantee themselves a top 6 position in the LPL.
Excellent way to lock yourself into top 6, and with one more series tomorrow, they can place themselves the highest that they've been in the regular season for a very, very long time. Can't get the confirmation on the time frame, but I promise you, top 6 was an achievement in spring. Top 5 will feel even sweeter. And this, again, was a series to reinstate that confidence back if you are an OMG fan. And I feel like if you're watching this series as that OMG supporter, you can feel happy about the performance that came out here into RA, and you look towards tomorrow to lock in that 5th place spot. Feels pretty damn good looking, to say the very least.
Yeah, it certainly does. OMG. Feeling good about that one. And I believe putting themselves on double digits for the split. So they'll be very happy with that one, with the way that's all gone. And looking towards playoffs, a confident series here, I think it's fair to say, where they've had a nice job here today. They've managed to convincingly take out RA. That's what we asked. After a couple of turbulent series, you know, beating out EDG, but it was a very close run thing. Now against RA, this was a series where they were a heavy favorite, but getting double digits on the board, doing it in a clean fashion, this is what we wanted from OMG. And now, one more series to go. If they can get another win, they guarantee that 5th place. Nothing to do with 6th.
Yeah, like 5th would feel great. And again, an accomplishment for them. Highest finishing God knows how long, besides the previous split of making it to 6th. So that's going to feel great. And again, it's into anyone's legend. It's another team outside of playoffs with nothing to really play for, right? So again, another series where they just get a little bit of extra stage practice in to get that stability back. And I feel like, to be honest, at the very least, watching this series, the stability seems back, right? Decision making seems pretty on point. They're all on the same page. They're all, I feel like, making decisions quickly as well. I think that's always a very important thing in the LPL, and I feel like that was a very solid case study for OMG in those specific pillars of their gameplay. So looking forward to seeing how their series turns out against AL, and whether or not they can actually secure that 5th place, because again, it will be a massive accomplishment for this lineup. Who, you look at the history and all of the the good narrative stuff, this is such a young roster which has been curated by OMG over the last couple of splits. So it's nice to see this actually pay dividends amongst so many rosters of so many massive names of historical weight behind them as well.
Shanji doing some damage, I think it's fair to say. The fact that you've got an AP Kaiser on your team and both Cream and Shanji managed to out-damage it says a lot about A, how well they played, and B, how many times Abel got caught right at the start of team fights. Phenomenal stuff, though, from all 3 carries on the side of OMG. I'm really curious who gets MVP. I'm
PP
with
God.
you that PP God was a strong contender.
If PP God does not get MVP for this game, then I don't know what's going on the MVP vote side of things.
I think Aki could take it.
No, not again.
Aki could take it. I think Shanji could take it.
Listen, this was a PP God diff through and through. It's not, in my mind, it's not even a question. If he doesn't get it, I'm just going to be sad. I'm going to be sad for the rest of the day, Munch. I'm going to go to bed sad. I'm going to wake up. I'm actually on OMG's final series of the split tomorrow. I'm just going to be sad. I'm going to be really upset. So hopefully that's not going to be the case. And PP God will get MVP, and then I can go to sleep happy today.
The thing is, I agree with you. But I also think PP God should be MVP. But I've been casted the LPL for a few years at this point. And the player that is most valuable in the game is not always the MVP, despite what the acronym stands for. Or initialism, actually. It's an initialism. So it's only an acronym if it turns into a word.
Is Shanji's going to get MVP then? Is that what I'm hearing? Do you reckon it's just going to be Shanji? Okay.
Shanji pressed R quite a lot of times, and it was very effective quite a lot of times. So I think he's going to get MVP.
True.
Also, Aki. Aki was kind of cracked, actually, this game.
Yeah, I agree. He was set up for success, right? I feel like the way that RA had to play out the fights because of the nature of their composition. Again, I said, talking like into the draft, that I was very, very concerned about this Kha'Zix pick, and it didn't really achieve much, man. Like I just don't really see how as Kha'Zix you're able to play out that game against so much CC, so much burst damage, so much turnaround. It just felt like a really Herculean task, which I feel like Liam was set up for failure with, right? There's so few champions I feel like you could really run in that kind of scenario. And you gave him R5, and that was really the best you could come up with. Feels kind of bad for RA. And again, we spoke about them very briefly. Feels bad to go out on a whimper, right? I feel like it doesn't necessarily speak true to the individual performances of every single game that they've had throughout the splits, right? Remember, not too long ago, they kind of half were giving JDG a bit of a shake, right, for their money, even though they lost 0-2. Take a look at those games. RA were kind of boxing with JDG. So, yeah, kind of sad that they go out like this, but that is competition, that's the LPL. And hopefully we see many of these members returning for 2024.
Yeah, I feel like RA and LGD, both of them, right at the bottom of the standings, but they had some great games.
You know?
Yeah, like there were some phenomenal games coming out from them. Didn't turn into series a lot of the time, and quite disappointing, honestly. Like, I feel like there was so much more there that could have been, but didn't end up coming on through in the end. So a little bit disappointing there, but hey, it happens. And maybe when it comes to spring next year, we can have a bit of a glow up from one of these organizations towards the bottom of the standings. But we've got not only have we got our top 10 now, Jamada, we have our top 6, our top 4, our top 2, all guaranteed. The portions of the bracket that the teams are in are now all completely locked in. The only thing remaining for our final day of LPL is OMG and Weibo can swap, EDG and RNG can swap. Those are the 2 remaining things. We're going to kick it over, though, to Wendy for a winner's interview with our, I was going to say champions with OMG.
There you go.
Thank you so much, guys. And Aki, congratulations on the 2-0 victory. And you have played 2 Maokai games, and in game 1, definitely your Maokai have shown us the MVP level of performance. You ganked to the top lane in the very beginning, and after that, you control all the Drakes, have the very good early game tempo. Tell us more about your early game strategy with the game 1 Maokai in order to help the whole team to snowboard so smoothly. 那首先恭喜你们今天很漂亮，2-0拿下了比赛的胜利。2局的茂凯也确实打得非常的漂亮。第1局的话，特别你的茂凯也是从前期就帮助上路来 gank， 然后接下来控下了所有的龙，然后呢，而且也是帮助队伍很快的打开了局面。所以说，可能你第1局整个前期的一些打野的布局和思路是怎么样的呢？
第1局大叔的话就是先往上刷，因为他们上路对拼的很凶嘛，然后我就直接去把他抓到了。后面就控龙的话，就中下有线权，我就直接把龙控了。 就很顺利。
Yeah, I must say it's a very smooth game for us in game 1, and also with that Maokai, I would like to have a very good jungle potting. I would like to do the jungle potting from the bot lane until the top lane, because it feels like the top lane, both teams, both top laners, they just play super aggressively. So that's guaranteeing me to have some angles to make the top lane gank, and after that, because the laners in the mid lane and also in the bot lane from our team, they can play quite dominantly to control all the lanes. So that's really helpful for me to control all the Drakes in game 1. And also, it feels like in today's game 1, you got the first pick to this Tristana, but to be honest, this summer, most of the Tristana for OMG will be for Abel. But for today, you guys would like to put Tristana to the mid, to Cream. So what's the reason behind that? 那其实第1局的时候，你们也是选了小炮嘛。其实我们感觉好像 OMG 这个夏天，大部分你们拿下小炮的时候，都会给到下路给 Able。那为什么今天会选出中单的小炮呢？
因为我们打野配了大树嘛，大树是个 AP， 就可以配很多中单 AD 英雄，然后就为了阵容更好的搭配，就把小炮弄到中路去了。
Yeah, because in game 1, we feels like we can have this Maokai jungle, and after that, we feels that definitely some AD champions, the mid lane can be a very good choice, and so after that, we just would like to just give the mid Tristana a try, and we just put the Tristana to the mid lane, and definitely the very good mid lane Tristana performance as well. And in terms of game 2, after we have seen you guys have chosen this Rumble top and the unit mid, it feels like, okay, this will be the showcase for OMG, for the whole team, because you guys are so confident with these champions. And also, it feels like from the mid game, in all the team fights, although the opponents seem like to target a bit to Abel's Kai'Sa, but still, OMG, you guys were able to win all the fights. So tell us more about the communications in the mid game, especially in game 2. 那其实说到第二局，当我们看到你们选出上单兰博，包括说中单永恩的时候，感觉好像是你们的一个绝活的秀场了。你们对这英雄都非常的有自信嘛。那其实来到中期的话，感觉对面也在每一波团的时候都比较针对你们的卡莎，但是在那之后，你们也依旧能够秀起来，在每一波团都大获全胜。所以说，可能在第二局的中期，你们更多在团战当中交流的思路会是怎么样的呢？
就我们第二把输出点很多，然后我们就是一个输出点死了没关系，就其他输出点补上就好了。所以打团的时候也没有特别多的交流，就注意看他们前面来的是谁，注意防绕后就好了。
Yeah, I must say for Game2, because we have so many champions that can really deal the very high amount of damage in all the fights. So even though they may target on one single dealer or the carrier, the one like the champion that can carry the game for us from the opponent's team, but still there's so many champions. All of us can just deal a very huge amount of damage in the actual team fights. So we are not worried about it. We just would like to put more attention to the opponent's position and which one will be the opponent's front lane, and after that we should be more careful about to avoid the opponents to flank from behind or flank from other angles, and after that we can feel like this can be the very easy game for us. And the last question, tomorrow you guys will have the last fight for the regular split, and after that the journey continues. You guys need to prepare for the playoffs. So what's your thoughts towards the tomorrow's game and also for the playoffs journey, and also maybe are there any part you think the whole team can still make some improvements on? 那最后一个问题也是，明天你们有常规赛最后收官之战嘛？然后在那之后也是季后赛的一个征程。对于未来的旅程有什么样的一个期待吗？觉得都有哪些部分可以做得更好？
明天是打 L 嘛，然后他们经理一直在跟我讲小号是世界第一打野，然后我也很希望能把世界第一打野赢下来。然后对于之后的季后赛的话，我就希望就是我们状态调整的越好，然后阵容多练一点，就一冲到世界赛吧。
To be honest, because tomorrow's game we're going to face against AL, and AL's manager told me a lot. Like Xiaohao is definitely the best jungler in the world, the top jungler. So I really would like to have the very strong feeling to get the win against AL to prove that I can be the best jungler in the world. I can be the best jungler as well. And also in terms of the goals in the playoffs, we would like to just try more drafts and have a wider champion pool and try more in-game strategies and try our best. Maybe we would like to get into the World Championships as well. And definitely we're all looking forward to that. And best of luck for the games tomorrow. 明天比赛加油 And back to our casters.
Thanks very much, Wendy. And Aki, of course, as well, saying that he believes he can be the best